Let's go. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of the new series I'm doing where I interview people that I've worked with one-on-one that have beautiful recovery stories. And I'm really proud and happy to share Malka's story today. Well, she's going to share it herself. Malka is someone that I worked with. She's a really incredibly beautiful person, and I just can't wait for everyone to hear her story. So yeah, Malka, welcome today to my YouTube channel.
Thanks, Robin. Yeah, hi.
So, I just kind of thought we'd start by you kind of just taking everyone through your journey, like how long you struggled, when it started for you, maybe just walking us through basically like your journey with DPDR as you got it.
Yeah, definitely. I think my story is so like similar to stories I've seen, but also I feel a little bit different. I'll try to kind of sum it up. I had my first panic attack, DPDR thing happened to me when I was very young. I was only like 13.
Yeah.
A friend of mine wanted to try smoking weed, and I had a severe and this is I've never had anything. I was just trying stuff, and I had severe panic attack while that was going on with DPDR that at the time I didn't know what the heck it was. I just now know, which actually lasted about 5 or 6 months. I was very young, but because I was going to school and I was just a child forced to do stuff, it went away. It went away on its own. And only about 6 years ago, there was a lot of stress going on. I lost a job. It was a lot of things that while I'm driving, had a panic attack that had really bad DPDR. And that's when I was in the loop that everyone talks about in this anxiety sort of circle, where I was in the fear of the fear. And then it felt like DPDR 24/7.
Yeah.
Anxiety, panic attack every day. I was basically homebound when I discovered you and your channel, which is what I'll talk about later. But I didn't know the word DPDR. I literally thought something's broken, maybe something's wrong. Like I never thought even that people had DPDR because I didn't know it existed. I just thought something's wrong with me. No one's ever felt this before. I literally was one of those people like, no one has ever felt this. Something's wrong. Am I possessed? Like I was thinking everything. But I did know that just my anxiety and panic was heightened. But then I was like, well, then why? It's just anxiety, panic. Why am I feeling crazy? Why am I feeling like maybe I have schizophrenia? Why do I have all these intrusive thoughts and existential stuff? And so that's kind of my history with that. And I told you, Robin, it was 6 years. So when people say, I have an anxiety for like a few months, a few weeks, I know people have had it for 10 years, 20 years, their whole life. I had it nonstop for 6 years.
Did you have like actual anxiety also 6 years, or was it more just a dissociation feeling or the
it was the I guess now knowing what DPDR, my nervous system and my anxiety was just off the charts for 6 years because I was so scared of it.
Yeah.
I would try to do nothing, right? You sit home, you're scared, you're like, I don't want to rattle anything. And then when you start trying to go out of the comfort zone, you try going outside, you will get panic attacks. But because you don't know what's going on, you can't ground yourself and kind of be brave. I was just scared all the time. So for 6 years, I was just scared of living, and I didn't go anywhere. I didn't do anything. I would do like bare minimum stuff that I had to do, go to the grocery store if I had to, but I would be in and out. I would run in and out. I stopped seeing my friends, my family. I know when we were having our sessions, I would cry about missing those things, but now I'm like, I'm not even sad about them anymore. I'm just, they're like my fuel to keep going. But yeah, so that's my kind of story with DPDR and anxiety. I think that everything was just so heightened.
Yeah.
I never had a moment to stop and just be. It was like, and one thing when I first started talking to you and we had our session, is you really made me see that like people with DPDR or people that have really bad anxiety issues, it's like there's no physical thing to be scared of. Like the store isn't scary. The driving is not as scary. Like when we're sitting at home and if we're at the store, like it's the same. It's that we're scared of like ourselves.
Yeah.
And when you said that, I was like, it scared me more because I'm like, yeah, I'm just scared of my body. I'm scared of how I feel. And so that's when I was like, I need to, how do we break that down? Because, you know, yeah, so that's kind of my history. And I feel like it's more common than I even thought. A lot of people have it. And yeah, there's tools and so many resources now to like learn how to control it, even love it and embrace it. Yeah.
Oh my God, thank you so much for sharing that. I just had a question, because you said you didn't really like read about what it was, the DPDR. So that was something you didn't really realize up until like last year, or?
Up until last summer. I mean, honestly, Robin, I think that kept me stuck for 6 years because I know, well, it could actually be double because a lot of people, they do the opposite. They do research. I know a lot of people get stuck in the forums and but at least they know what it is. I was so scared. I didn't even, and I don't have social media, so I didn't know that there was even a thing for anxiety support. I didn't know about the DARE books. I'm a really big fan of DARE. I'll share it in the end for anyone, and a few other books that you recommended. But I had no idea the term deep. And you know, it's funny. I remember when I was really low, at my lowest, I was so scared. I didn't know how to explain DPDR. So when I was Googling, like, nothing feels real when I feel crazy, like it was like your results are like just nothing. It's like garbage. Like you're like, what the hell? So I remember and I will never forget this day. I was having a really bad panic attack at night. I was just in bed and I was like, you know, it started and the panic and adrenaline and I'm freaking out. And I run to the bathroom just to sit and just be in the quiet. And I'm so angry. I'm texting, I'm Googling, feeling heart beating fast and feeling unreal. And I remember there was an article there. I have it saved somewhere on my phone. I read an article from a woman in England who has DPDR and anxiety. And I'm reading and I'm crying. I'm like, I never felt so, okay. I was like, I needed to read this. I feel so not alone. I was just crying from happiness, but also crying because like, oh crap, now I have to like know what this is. But I'll never forget that moment. I felt so like, this is something, this is not nothing, you know? So I then from there, I started learning about, and actually from there, it kind of went down because my days were like, Google, YouTube, which is how I found you. But also it was like kind of also not that great because I went like full inside like research, which I also don't recommend. A little bit of research here and there, but not what I did. I read all the books. I watched all the videos. It was a lot, but yeah.
I think everyone listening can recognize that phase where you just go and look for every possible solution.
Everything. And you think that it makes you feel comforted, and it does. It really, especially for me, someone who I had no idea and struggling for all those years. I was like, I felt so comforted, right? But it also, I remember when we would have our sessions, you're like, just slow down on because I would read like a book or two a day on it. Like it was just everything in my mind was anxiety, panic attacks, DPDR, recovery. Like that's also not a good way to do it. It's not an all or nothing thing. It's such a gradual, you know, we'll talk about that later, but it's such a beautiful, slow journey instead of now, you know.
And that's
just remembering how I felt those days, the early days is like, whew, yeah.
Well, so when exactly do you feel like you did start to kind of go out of that, and what kind of made that happen for you?
Yeah, so definitely the beginning was reading that article. that wasn't the beginning of healing. That was like the beginning of like maybe just like an entry into the door.
Control.
Healing, yeah, healing didn't start for a long time after that. I tried to do, I read a lot of books. I watched a lot of videos on how, and that's great. I think a lot of people can heal on their own that way. But I knew I needed someone that's been through it, but not only been through it, overcame it, who would be able to kind of give me tips, because I'm someone who, I do research a lot. I'm a researcher. I like to read. I like to do stuff, but also I also want to surrender to like, I don't know what to do and I don't know how to do it. So I think it really began when I started watching a lot of your videos. One of your videos really spoke to me. Is when you were talking about having a really bad panic attack in the airport.
Yeah.
And I felt so close to you, and I didn't even know you. I was like, that's exactly how I felt, you know? And I was like, and I saw you were offering like some courses. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna, like, what do I have to lose, you know? And so, yeah, just our first meeting, like, I was like, okay, I think maybe this will help. And so we had our sessions, and I think every time during the, because it was like once a week, during that week, I'd like think of things to talk to you about. And then like, even if I was feeling crappy that day, because it's always like up and down, I like knew like, oh, but I can talk to Robin about this. And then she'll give me like pointers or tell me like maybe what I didn't do correctly or what I could have done in the moment differently. So I think healing really began when I not forced myself, I allowed myself to like just go, because in the last months before I booked my stuff with you, which was last summer, I remember it was 2022, July, August, September, like that time, I was not leaving the house. I was basically homebound at that point, because that was when my anxiety and panic were really, really bad. In between those 6 years, I had pretty good months where I was functioning, I was fine, but those last few months, I wouldn't leave the house for weeks. I mean, walking to my mailbox would give me, I would have to run. It was the lowest of the low. I don't want to start crying thinking about it because I'm so happy now. But yeah, I just was ready, because I would do anything. And I told you that I'm like, I don't care what it takes. Like, I'm so ready. Because I also remember in a Dare video, I remember one of the girls were saying that like having DPDR and anxiety and panic is really, really hard, right? Like just having and living with it is really hard. Healing is also really, really hard. So like we have to pick what hard we want to do. Are we going to do like the crappy, just it's going to suck, it's going to hurt, but we're going to try to do it? Or are we going to just live in our fake bubble, which sucks too?
Yeah,
and
you described that perfectly.
Oh my God. Yeah. And I think when I heard that, it was such a harsh reality of like, this is going to suck either way. Like you're going to be so upset and be, you know, scared at home in your room. You know, that's shitty. And then you can do like the healing work, which is also going to be kind of shitty and it's going to be very scary, but there's such a beautiful light at the end of that, where as opposed to the other end, which is, you know, feeling so scared and being in your bubble, there is no light. Unfortunately, there's no light at the end of that. It's just unfortunately just darkness. And I was so ready to see that light that I was like, I'll do anything. So that's, I think when it began, I think that was the moment. Like, I was like, I don't care, I'm just gonna do it, it's gonna suck, but guess what, I'm gonna have DPDR when I'm outside or I'm at home, so let's do this.
I remember the first intake session we had, and I knew, like, I think I even told you that, like, the session after, 2 sessions after that, I knew you were gonna recover because of your attitude. And it's so funny because I work with a lot of people, and people can do all the right things, but if it's the energy with which you do it that's so important. And I remember like you had it for 6 years. So like you had every right to doubt yourself and to go like,
Yeah.
I'm
I
afraid
had
to.
no confidence, zero confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you were, I remember you saying like, I am just ready for this.
I'll
Like,
do anything.
I'll
Yeah.
do anything. Like, Robin, just tell me what to do. I'll do
Tell
it.
me, I was so desperate, like seriously. And I think that desperation of like, I'll do anything, it really, it helps. Like seriously, when you're at your, like on your knees, I was like on my knees, like I will do anything, like just completely surrender, because obviously what I was doing was keeping me stuck. And I feel like the timing was so right. Like I met all these great people. I read these amazing books that I can never, I can't imagine my life without now, you know? So
Yeah.
that's, man, this just journey has been long, and it's been almost, not almost a year, but it's an ongoing journey, right? Like I don't, like people, I'm so afraid when people think that this type of journey is just a short one, or maybe the work stops when you start feeling better. Like, no, like, it's like an everyday thing, but it's a really cool thing. And yeah.
All right. So can you share a little bit on like what the tips, like what the practices were that helped you, what books you read, like what
Oh yeah.
if you look back now to like the difference on how you feel today and how you felt a couple of months ago, like what were the things you did that got you to where you are today?
Yes. Such a good question. Geez. So I'm gonna start with some books that are just game changers for anyone who's agoraphobic, panic, anxiety, that's kind of stuck in this loop, ruminate like 20, because for me it was every second of every minute of every day I was checking how I'm feeling. Like it was my life. So
Mm-hmm.
by doing that, it creates habits, right? It's like I'm just gonna check myself no matter what. So learning how to break the habit was a big one. But by doing that, it's like you have to be so intentional, be so like in the moment. So reading like Dare, the Dare books, game changer. It's Dare is it's called Dare Anxiety and Panic. It's like all about the like clinical approach to how to like calm your body and just get out of anxiety without like medication and things like that. And you recommended a book called A Return to Love, game changer.
Mm-hmm.
At Last a Life is a really good one, is about a man who had severe DPDR for 10 years and recovered. That book. But what's really funny about that book is that it's such a good book that just speaks to your heart if you've been through this and you kind of want to bring it with you everywhere. But one of his messages is like, let go of everything.
Yeah.
Like, get off the websites, get off the forums, throw
Yeah.
your books away. Like, it's very much like that, which is so funny because I'm like, I love this book, I want to take it with me everywhere I go. But he's like, this is keeping you stuck. Like, throw everything away, burn everything, just, you got this. So books like that. Tips, support. That I was all alone for 6 years. I had no one I could really talk to about it. Like, even when I tried to explain DPDR or that like that overwhelming sense, like my parents never dealt with it, or maybe they did, they just don't know how to explain it. My friends are all very chill, they're really cool. My fiance is the chillest person ever. You know, it's like it was very hard for me to connect with someone. I think that's such a big thing. I think actually 50 or 60% of it is just knowing you're not alone. Like, this is so much more common. And if I knew that 6 years ago, I think I would feel so much more relaxed. I was just freaked out of myself.
Mm-hmm.
So support, I know Dare has a forum. I don't know if I would recommend it. It's with love. I will say that a lot of people on forums with anxiety and panic are a little bit like, they kind of want to feel and hear that they're not alone. So a lot of it is a lot of suffering,
Yeah.
and a lot of suffering will attract more suffering. But I was very lucky. I found two wonderful, wonderful, wonderful ladies that we kind of just clicked because we were kind of on the same level. And we talk every day. Every day we have a group chat and we're always checking in on each other. And I think that is, and they're in the very beginning of their journey and they're like already almost healing. And I'm like 6 years later, like, you know, just, but if I had that in the beginning, it would be so great. So try to get support, however you can, even if it's kind of reaching out just to trying to see, even you were a huge support. Like you're someone who experienced it. So I knew I could come to you for help with it. It's a very hard battle to do alone. I will say, not impossible for sure, not an impossible battle, but a little bit difficult. And if you have the right like support, oh my goodness, it'll make it so much easier. So that is another tip. Oh, another tip is, man, just go. Like that was my biggest thing for me. I would just say, just go. Just like, it's so hard though, because I remember when you get those panicky feelings, it's like everything goes out the window, right? You forget everything. But it's like that will get easier and easier too. My first few times I messaged you, I was like, panic attack, had it, forgot everything we talked about. I had like in my journal, in these books, highlighted all these amazing things. I had a panic attack and it's everything goes away. Like you go blank, right? You're in the fight or flight. So all you're thinking about is, I'm gonna die right now. Something's going on. But keep going and like just trust it will get better, because it literally does.
Yeah.
Thought it was it for me. This was gonna be my life forever. It's so cheesy to say, if I can do it, you can. But like, I was in the lowest low. Like I thought something was broken. No one has ever felt this. And it does get better. And you get hope, which I never had. All these terms, like I was telling you, like hope and faith and like trust, like I never used those words. And now I know what those words are. And it feels so new and exciting, which is something I wanted to talk. Can I talk about the excitement?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
So I was talking to Robin about, for those 6 years, I was basically just like depressed and anxious 24/7. I didn't have excitement. I just was scared all the time. And I remember when we first started talking, we were doing a photo shoot for something really big in my life. And
not me and you, like, by the way.
oh yes, not me and Robin, me and my fiance. And I remember it's a big thing, right? Like it's a photo shoot. It's like I knew I was excited, but I just didn't. Right before I had a crazy panic attack because my heart was beating, was freaking out, and I felt like this is it. I'm screwed. I'm going through all this progress, because before that I had weeks of like amazing days, right? I was like feeling great. I was confident, and I had a huge panic attack. And I was talking to Robin. I'm like, I think I was just excited. I forgot what being excited felt like. It's just my heart and adrenaline, because excitement and fear and panic are so similar. It's like the same energy. So I was like, holy crap.
Emotionally it's different, but physically it can have similar,
Yeah. And I felt like who am I now that I forgot what it's like to feel and accept excitement and be happy, that I almost like sabotaged myself and made it into a full-blown panic attack. But it was like, okay, cool. I was able to learn from that. But yeah, so that was a big, also like up and down. Like you have to remember, like the setbacks are, me and the girls from my group talk about a setback as a slingshot. So you think of your setback, right? You're gonna go back, and then when you release it, you're gonna go so forward. So like in order to have a setback, it's like you kind of want one. You want to like ask for one. Like I want to feel this again, because then you'll know next time what not to do, and then it'll be fewer and fewer and fewer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like all these, so yeah, sorry, I was a little rambling about the tips, but reading really good, but slowly, take your time. Reading really great positive books. The book by Thich Nhat Hanh you recommended,
Fear. Yeah.
Fear by Thich Nhat Hanh, game changer for sure. Meditating was hard for me. You introduced me to it, and it's something that I'm very like consciously trying to not force myself, but allow myself to do regularly. But because I get kind of stuck in my, like, I have to be better at it. And by doing that, it's practice. But meditation helped a lot in the very beginning. It so let me relax. It made me kind of be like right here in the moment. My brain is always like there. So meditating, learning about mindfulness, that is really helpful, because when you learn about mindfulness and you practice it, you can like always come back to it. Like when you're kind of freaking out, or you have intrusive thoughts, or if you're having existential anxiety, you can be like, no, I'm right. Like breathe, be mindful. And I was like, I never knew how to be mindful. I'm 30 years old. How do I not know how to be mindful after 30 years? So that was really good. So I think those are my main tips. Great. I hope people can sum it up. Support, read, don't be like, reach out for help, because you're so not alone. Like, it's so much more common. And that's what pisses me off, is that it's not talked about. And like, it's so much more common than people think. And if people just felt like they weren't alone, it would be so much better. So I think those are my biggest tips.
Thank you so much. So the next question I have is basically, how are you today? So share a bit on how you're doing today, like so many months later since we first spoke.
Yeah, I mean, I miss our talk so much. I miss meeting with you weekly. It was like such a great highlight in such a dark time. I'm great. I mean, obviously it's not perfect. But to compare myself to the past 6 years, like there's no comparison. Like I have like confidence to go out, do stuff, spend time with my loved ones, and like know that, okay, I might have a panic attack here. So what? Like, and I haven't, but I know that if I do have one, which is totally possible, that I have like the tools, and I have my like little arsenal of like my support group that I can reach out to, or like just have myself. And then I kind of remind myself, like, so many people have gone through this. There's no difference between me and you. Everyone's capable of doing it. And like, it's funny. I don't think I told you this, but I think of Thich Nhat Hanh a lot.
Really?
I think of, yeah. And I think like, because to me, he's like so enlightened and so peaceful that I'm like, there's no difference between me and him, right? Like capability wise, right? We're all capable. Yeah. So sometimes I think of him like, he could do it, like so can I, so can everyone. Like we can just kind of chill. So I think about him a lot. I never thought I would. I just read I only read like 1 or 2 of his books, but he stuck to me so. And I know he passed away recently, I think, and there's going to be a documentary about him. I'll send you the link, but I think about him so much, and he's kind of like my grounding. I don't even know much about him, but his words they're so universal.
Yeah.
They're so beautiful and simple. I like that he's simple. A lot of people and books overcomplicate things. But I love the simplicity of everything, and of life, and just of fear and love and all these emotions. So I think about him a lot. But I'm doing great. I finalized my wedding date, which was a big one. When I was talking with you, my biggest fear was that I'm going to have a huge panic attack, have like DPDR that I'm going to never come back from. That's not going to happen. And like, even if it does, you were telling me like, you're like, okay, let it happen. Let it be there. Like, okay, cool. Like whatever.
Then you would walk down the aisle with your DPDR.
And I would forget it, which actually would be great, because when I would have DPDR, I would forget like little things. So like, oh, cool. I won't even remember that I looked silly or something, So trying to make it funny out of it too, it really helps. Like me and my girls in the support group, we always joke, and it helps, because one of my friends, she has a big fear of passing out on the freeway. We're like, go, like ask for it, pass out, you'll have a great like EMT come pick you up. Like we're like, and then it's like she's laughing and we're all laughing, and it goes away. Try to make it funny, because it's such a hard thing, and we gotta like laugh it off. We have to try to make it funny. So we always try to combat her intrusive thoughts with like, cool, you'll pass out, like ask for it, you'll get these hot guys come and pick you up and take care of you. And she's like, no, I want to pass out. I want to pass out now. So it's just,
that's amazing. I love that.
We have to laugh. I mean, guys, especially someone like me who's been in the dark for so many years, like I want to laugh about this, I want to make fun of it. It's like it had so much power. Right? I was like I had so much power for so many years that it's like we can't give it that much of a hold, and just like laugh about it and try to do the best you can. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all we
So
can
you'd
do.
say, yeah, so you'd say that you're just like recovered, but the only thing you're struggling with still is like the fear of it coming back or the fear of it popping
I'm
up
not even
again?
scared of it coming back because now I know kind of what to do. I feel like I'm 96 or 97%. I just, those last percents is just, I'm new to this. This is all new to me.
Yeah.
It's just keeping it going. And I have confidence that I will keep, but it's, you never know. Things are scary. Life is unpredictable, but I
Yeah.
have so much confidence that, yeah.
And I think, like, to be honest, like I consider myself recovered and I am recovered and I am at peace and I am happy and I'm much happier than I've ever been. But like you're never perfect.
It's
And
never 100. Yeah. And I don't want to be 100. I never think I will be 100%, but it's like, I feel so confident. And I think that's one thing that people are missing and that are in this loop is like, we're not confident in ourselves because what the hell? This is so scary. Of course, we're scared of ourselves. And so like my sessions with you taught me to like not be scared of myself. Life isn't scary. Like I was scared of like life and myself, but that's not the scary part, learning to see things differently, like positive habits, things like that.
yeah,
Um,
that's amazing. So how would you say you look back now? I know it's like tricky when you've struggled with it for a longer period of time to maybe be grateful for it, but like if you look back on those 6 years, like how do you feel about it today? How can you look back on that?
yeah, I used to think, what the hell are people talking about when they're grateful for for panic attacks? But now I will say I'm happy it happened to me. Of course, there's years that I can never get back in my life, events that I missed, but it was a good thing that happened to me because without it, I would have never met these amazing people. I would have never read all these books. I would have never like, because also with this journey, you have to dig down a lot and like face a lot of uncomfortable things, not getting too deep into it, but like childhood traumas and like a lot of stuff you have to face. And that's crappy.
Yeah.
But I would never change those 6 years. I mean, oh my God, the person I am now, I feel like I could take, like, I feel so strong. I feel like I can also like be a help for a young woman or a young girl or young boy, whoever, I see myself. I'm like, man, if I had someone when I was that age, like I would feel so good. So I like feel like I could really be that for someone and I would love to. So when I look back on it, I feel not sad, not happy. I feel like, okay, this was something that happened and it became something beautiful. And now I'm thinking, like, I always think of like, okay, if that didn't happen, let's say in the future, something, big happened and I would have my DPDR panic attacks and I wouldn't know what to do. So
Yeah.
now I feel like I'm very prepared. And like, let's say someone in my family or my future husband will deal with it. Like, I'll know how to help. So it feels very powerful, actually.
That's
I don't
amazing.
know. It does feel pretty powerful, but oh man, all these bumps in the road. It's like up and down all these years. It's beautiful though.
I guess like it's about how you look at life. If you look at
Yeah,
life and you expect it to just be easy, then you'll be disappointed. But if you look at life and you go, you know what, it's gonna be messy and it's gonna be beautiful at the same time, and it's about growth and it's about like feeling alive, then that's just a part of it.
such a big part. Yeah. And then just like letting go of the control. That was really big for me. Is just stop controlling and feeling uncomfortable. Like just feel whatever it is. Feeling is healing or whatever. Like just let it out. Stop not letting yourself feel. So that was a big one. Like letting go of control. But I think honestly, I wouldn't know. I can't imagine if I didn't have my sessions with you, like how I'm sure I would have healed at some point. Um, but I mean, they were just priceless. Like just talking to someone who's been through it, I think it's huge. It's a huge part of it. So
Oh, thank you so much. It was like really
Yes.
lovely to work with you as well. I remember our sessions and just like your bright personality and your optimism, even in a bad, darker time. So,
Oh
um,
man, you saw me at my lowest low, most desperate. I even remember, I think our first call, I was like, I just woke up because our time zone is different. My hair was like crazy. I was like, can you help me, please? It was like, oh my God, I was just so desperate. And I was like, yeah, I will do anything. Anything you tell me, I will do it. I will do it. And I think anyone who's at that desperate, I hate that word desperate, but I was desperate. I don't care. Like anyone at that level, like, you're ready. You're ready. Just do it. Because like, what's the worst that can happen? You're gonna be the same as you were. Like, that's
yeah.
the worst case scenario. So, like try to do something that's different. And I did, and it was the best decision.
Oh, yay. So do you have like any like concluding final tip like for people, because there's people that are watching to us like right now that are listening, that are struggling, that are maybe not confident in themselves yet. So what is like one final like
Oh
just
my
like
God.
tip
To
or
anyone, and I'm gonna talk to myself right now when I was like that. Like, I don't want to cry. You're so not alone. Like, this is not the end. Like, it's the beginning. And man, I'm sorry. I don't want to get emotional. It's such a beautiful thing.
you
But
can.
this sucks. And it feels like no one's felt what you felt before. And it's the scariest thing. But it's so possible to get over it. Like, that's just something I wish I heard. Like, this is gonna suck for a little bit, but just hang in there, because like it does get better. And it's like you're gonna have to do a little work. But there's so many resources now for people that have this. Learn the terms, learn the tools, don't overdo it, relax, reach out for help. Like, man, yeah, reach out
Mhm.
for help. You're not in this alone. Everything's gonna be okay. Read the right stuff. Don't like get sucked into negative forums and people suffering. Like, a lot of people just suffer just because they're addicted to suffering. That's another thing I learned. um yeah, let go of control. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
Everything's good. Everything has a way of working itself out. And yeah, this is it's a hard journey, but it's doable. If I can do it, you can. That's the stupid. I never wanted to be someone that says that, but if I can do it, you
True.
can do it. Like,
True.
I couldn't even leave my house for a really long time. So yeah, you guys can do it. And Robin can help. And Robin, with Robin or without Robin, you can
Yeah,
do it. But it's
exactly.
you will need someone. If you need like someone to guide you, that's beautiful. People, want to help. So yeah.
Thank you, Malka, for
Damn it,
sharing.
Robin, making me cry again.
It's good tears. Tears are good. Thank you so much for everything you shared today. Like, I know 100% that so many people are gonna have value from this, and
I hope so.
this is
Yeah,
part
leave a comment. I will respond. I please. I want
of
everyone to feel like I want to help everyone that was like me. I'm like, I want to be like a soldier, like helping anyone, like lifting them on my back so we can get through this. Like,
going it together. So if you
yeah.
have a question for Malka, just message like a comment in
Yeah,
the
yeah. I will respond to everyone.
I'll make sure that she gets everything. I'll send her like screenshots and she'll reply to your questions. So thank you so much, Malka, for
Thank
today.
you,
I'm
Robin. Thank
so
you. Thank
happy
you.
that you got to share this. I'm so proud of you for where you are. And for everyone that
Couldn't
watched
have done it
today,
without you.
oh, thank you. For everyone that watched today, thank you for watching. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye
Bye.
bye.